So, Beware the Batman premiered today, guys. Is it a worthy successor to Green Lantern, the animated series? Is Teen Titans a great successor to Young Justice Invasion? Find out that and more in just a minute.
Now, when I say, who's the master, you say, no.
So, Beware the Batman premiered today this morning, and I'm here to bring you my thoughts on the actual episode, as well as update on what I think about the new DC Nation in general versus what was going on last year. Beware the Batman was not a complete failure. I'm going to be very objective with my review on this first episode because it did have some things that I did enjoy, and there were still a couple of things that I really can't really decide on just yet because it's still too early. First thing I want to talk about is animation. Now, this is the first CG Batman TV show that's ever been made. It does take some getting used to. The CG is almost equivalent to the Green Lantern animated series, but I felt like they are kind of mixing the Bruce Wayne of old with the really extended Batman ears, the tips, and then they also kind of streamlined it a little bit more with the more modern day suit and just the overall feel of the actual CG. Now, the one thing that I didn't like is for some reason with his lips. Batman's lips look really weird. They're very elongated, and then at the front they're just really big, and it looks weird. So but in general, if I'm only arguing about the way his lips look in the overall CG, then that's a good thing. It's not horrible, but it's definitely something to get taken used to. The story itself focuses more on a younger Batman and a Gotham. This is probably his first year or two. He already has all his toys, and this is more of a detective show. So this isn't going to be an all action-packed, Batman show. He's going to really use his smarts and his technology, especially the technology of today. His communication with Alfred, and Alfred in general. I'll get to him in a second, but his technology in general is kind of more a bet to what's going on in these days and times in 2013. Even his cell phone is basically like a cell phone with a cool cover on it. It's not like a communicator, and which is fine. I'm not complaining about that in any way, shape, or form. The villains, on the other hand, I need to get used to them. Now, these, again, like I said, when I've done my old videos in the past, I've told you guys that this show is not going to be focused on all the main villains of the Batman series, like Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Two-Face, etc. These guys are not going to be in the show. It's going to be kind of focused on the more lesser-known villains in the Batman series. Now, when I first heard that, I was very, very disturbed by that. I was upset. I wasn't too sure if I was going to enjoy that. But like I said, I'm pleasantly, I shouldn't say pleasantly surprised, but I'm just surprised. The two main villains that introduced themselves were Mr. Pig and Froggy. Very predictable, I guess. It's basically a guy in a pig costume, and then there's an actual mutated frog. The mutated frog is kind of the henchman. He has his pretty cool croak, where he croaks and it sends out this kind of like sonic boom. And the pig guy is basically just a criminal in a pig mask who's also a surgeon. So he carries around this, surgeon's briefcase that has all sorts of weapons in them, like explosives and carving materials and things of that nature. And essentially the basis of this first episode was they were upset of all the wetlands being sold by billionaires, and he decided to kidnap some of these billionaires to try to make them pay for what they're doing to the environment. So it kind of takes when I saw this guy, you guys probably, anybody watching this video, unless you're around my age, you're not going to really know about Captain Planet. But this guy in a pig mask really resembled Hoggish Greedley. And Hoggish Greedley was a character from Captain Planet who was basically like a mutated pig. And, he kind of dealt with environmental issues. So I kind of sync those two characters up together, and that's kind of who he reminded me of. But if you guys ever get a chance, you can just Google him. It's a Hoggish Greedley from Captain Planet. You'll see what I'm talking about. One thing that, and again, I'm not too sure Well, before I get there, let me talk about Alfred. Alfred is much more of an active character in this series in general. From the looks of it, he's much younger than he was in any other stories, and looks like he's not just a butler. He was a former MI6 agent, meaning that he's almost like a James Bond kind of character. You can kind of tell that in his character design, the strong chin, the eyes. He almost looked like a villain when there was a scene where Froggy and the pig guy had them all tied up, and if you didn't know any better, you couldn't really tell Alfred was the good guy. At first, when I was looking, I was like, "Is that Alfred?" He looks like Jason Statham from the Transporter series mixed up with James Bond. Like, if I had to actually piece together the kind of person Alfred is, he literally looks like Jason Statham, a mix between Jason Statham and James Bond. And it looks like he's going to have a more active role into this series, meaning he's not going to be bringing tea and just giving positive advice. It looks like he's going to be kicking butt along the way. Now, I know a lot of guys are thinking, wait, what about Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl? As far as I know, they're not going to be in this series. Again, this is going to be a brand new series, a brand new take on Batman. And they're doing that by bringing in this chick. I believe her name is Katana. She has a katana. I believe her name is Katana. I probably messed up her name. I can actually whatever. Anyway, she only gets introduced at the end of the episode, so she's going to be Bruce's. Because essentially, what happens is they get taken to this huge oil tanker building. Batman goes in. He saves Alfred. He saves the day. The building explodes, and Alfred ends up breaking his ankle. Towards the end of the episode, Alfred tells him that he's not going to always be there to help Bruce Wayne, so he wants to make sure that someone's there to take care of him. Introducing the chick with the samurai sword, and she's eventually going to be the equivalent to Robin or Batgirl. She's going to eventually end up getting the secret, and then they're going to be traveling together as Bruce Wayne, Batman, and his sidekick. Again, I really haven't been able to formulate a really strong opinion on her just yet, only because, again, she really showed up at the end of the episode, so really don't know anything about her. I'm pretty sure in the second episode we'll get to know more about her, but until then, you really just can't tell. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is this whole third-person thing. I noticed when Bruce Wayne was talking to Alfred, he was referring to Batman as a third person, meaning, me and Batman, it's like you can't protect us for, basically speaking, he is Batman, but he's referring to himself in the third person when he talks to him as Batman, and it's just really weird. I'm like, why the hell are you doing that? I don't know. But overall, I'm going to give this episode out of a 10. I'm going to give it a solid 7. I didn't hate it like the first time I watched Teen Titans, and I'll get to Teen Titans Go in a second. But in general, I want to see more of the series. I want to give it a full 3 to 4 episodes before I make my final decision on whether or not this is going to be a run-of-the-mill show, or is it going to grab hold of me, kind of like the Green Lantern the animated series did. Because I got to tell you, that was one hell of a show. I really enjoyed Green Lantern the animated series. But again, this is not about that. Really briefly, I used to do I reviewed the first 2 episodes of Teen Titans Go, and I stopped reviewing the show. Since then, I've probably watched maybe a handful of episodes, and I have a couple of observations. First, the show is kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. There has been some episodes where I chuckled. There has been some episodes where I outright laughed. And sometimes some of these shorter episodes I do enjoy. But it's just not the same Teen Titans that I'm used to. And you just kind of got to get used to that. The one thing about this show that I do not like is the fact that they cannot give you 2 consecutive new episodes ever. It's like literally the first episode might be an all-new skit, but then the second one is always a different one. So it's not even like when they announce, a new Teen Titans Go this Tuesday or whatever day it comes on, you get 1 new skit and then you get 1 repeat. So it's not even like you're getting 2 consecutive new episodes, and I really think that's a cop-out. But again, like I said, this is mostly about Beware the Batman. I've been able to touch on the show. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good show. I'm definitely going to stick around. The characters are not the main villains, but it's not like the villains they did show were bad. So Mr. Froggy with his little croaking and the pig surgeon, it's kind of cool. It's definitely worth a couple more episodes to watch before I make my final decision. But I want to know what you guys thought of the episode. Let me know in the comments section below. Thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You know the deal.